YouTube. We are back out in the wood chip pile today, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking some of these wood chips from here and I'm going to be mulching some of the fruit trees that we have in different parts of the property. Now ideally it would be great to just have a ton of wood chips and I could just mulch the whole thing. If I had a smaller yard, if I was just dealing with just a backyard or a front yard, or like an urban type of area, it would be a lot easier. I mean, this right here would cover the whole thing. But I've got so much stuff spread out in so many different directions that I've only been able to mulch the trees individually. You know, a nice big, just a whole load right where the fruit trees are, and then I just let it go. You know, obviously, and the weeds start growing back in there after about a year or two, and then it becomes more wild again. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to really mulch in the front where some of the older fruit trees we put in are. I've got little rows. As you can see, I've got little rows, and I started mulching one, the smallest one, just to see how it would do. But I'm probably going to have to do it a little bit more heavier than that. I think I'm going to have to really drown out all the grass that's underneath there. Now what I did just recently was I had to come in here and just chop everything down that was growing from the summertime. When you've got a no zone, sometimes you've got grass that's as tall as you, or even weeds, and what is it called? The ragweed. The giant ragweed gets 10-15 feet tall here, and it doesn't grow in all the different spots, but where it does, it gets pretty thick. But the reason I like that the most is if you can get it in the summertime, when it's green, you can chop that stuff down and it creates this awesome green mulch that starts to feed the soil. If you let it go a little bit longer, you get these woody stems that really put a lot of air into your mulch. You know, you can cover those things up with wood chips, and you don't have to worry about it getting too wet or getting, too rotten and stuff like that. There's a lot of airflow in there from those. So yeah. Now I'm hoping to have enough wood chips here to do just about everything that we've got, and maybe do a couple rows pretty heavy. But this stuff is just... I don't know if I'm the first one to tell you guys this or not, but if you're gonna deal with wood chips, you need a good fork, a good garden fork, a little hay fork, because the shovel just does not slice through this stuff. You can't use a shovel in wood chips, and that's one thing. That's one of the tools you're gonna need for doing wood chips, is something that'll stab it and get a nice little load. I had to cut a little side entrance in here, and all I did was take my fence and just put another fence post in. Rather than do like a big fancy door or anything like that, I just put another fence post here, tied it all up, and then cut the wire. And I made sure I worked a really good hole to get this in and out, and then just pull it up and kind of bend it over. That's enough to get the wheelbarrow in there, and not let the dogs or any chickens out. We don't have any chickens. Alright, now the first thing I'm going to probably want to do is push all this stuff down. All these giant ragweed dead plants. You can hear them, they're hollow. They're like a bunch of tree branches that really aren't going to take that long to break down. I think they'll make some really good fertilizer along with the grass. stuff in here. And then try to keep an eye out for any seedlings. Know what's in your no zone, I guess one thing. Keep an eye out for any seedlings. I've got some peach seedlings growing next to this peach tree, but that's pretty much about it. Let's see if I can get this up and out of here. I wonder if this is big enough. I can just take it out. So we got one down. And then I just spread it out. I don't know, it's probably 5 foot radius around there. But you can see this one peach seedling here. And then there's another little guy growing right over here. I put a bunch of pits in here. And whenever I mulch this, I haven't mulched them in I think probably a year and a half or 2 years. We've had chickens in here and the chickens always messed me up, you know. That's one of the reasons why I didn't have, you know, big rows of wood chips before, because I've tried that and they just kicked the shit out of it everywhere. And wasn't able to replace it fast enough, you know. If I had a bigger pile maybe, but, or less chickens. But yeah, got this one down. Let's keep going. I've done most of the trees in this one row here. I've got maybe a couple other little rows, and I'm just talking about the front yard, not the side yard, backyard, the other side, just this spot right here. And where I've showed you guys in the past, the no zone that's got the mulberry tree, I'm actually mulching around the mulberry tree also as well too, and a couple of the peach trees. And I'll show you guys how it looks. And it's kind of like a combination of wild and, you know, there's really not much to it when you just kind of dump a bunch of wood chips over there, and it'll kind of feed your fruit trees and hold back the weeds for a little bit. Not forever, but for a little bit. And give these guys a chance to grow. And hopefully some of the other pits that I put in the ground, it'll kind of give them a chance to come up also too. Keep the soil nice and moist, and keep a little bit of the grass back, so that way some of the newer seedlings and newer fruit trees and all the pits that I put in the ground will start growing up also too. So, alright, so this is just what I've done today. This here is a methley plum that I planted a long ass time ago. The roots were growing in a container. You know, it's one of the Lowe's Tractor Supplies, you know, these big potted trees that they sell in the spring and in the fall. And I've been babying it, which I shouldn't be. But I've already put replacements for the other plums, and I'm going to probably be putting some pits down here in case this thing doesn't want to do what I want it to do, if it just doesn't grow. But it's been struggling, and I'm putting too much time into something when I could just put a pit in the ground. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I've done this one right here. I've got some more mulberries up here. These are 2 mulberry seedlings right here. And then I've got a nice peach. Nice tall central leader going all the way up. This will start to fill out. It's put on a lot of growth this year. This was a really small tree last year. And this one's only about, I put this in the ground last year. And here's another mulberry tree with a little plum seedling. It's either a cherry or a plum seedling. And then I've got another plum right there that's not doing too good. And the reason why is it's getting that black canker crap. You can kind of see it, but there's hope. There's some growth down here. You know, I could always come through here and cut that off and just let this grow back into a tree, but I put this one in last year and it's really not doing too good. And here's the peach trees. There's like 3 peaches here. We got a big one, a little guy, and, you know, succession. You know, peaches don't live forever, and fruit trees don't last forever, and they reproduce for a reason. So I try to plant, if I ever get any pits from these in the first couple years, instead of eating them, you know, you only get a couple, I put them right around here around the base, kind of create forest, you know, food forest. And then I still got to do that mulberry down there in the end. So thanks for watching, guys. We're getting ready for winter, getting all the fruit trees ready, that is, and give them a nice warm blanket of wood chips. And that'll kind of help feed them through the wintertime and the spring, and it'll control some of the weeds and some of the grasses and stuff like that, which aren't necessarily too big of a deal because there's just so much woody material and grassy mulch, and you know, it's just very wild here in my yard. But I'm gonna leave a lot of the other places, a lot of the other spots around the yard, like around the fence, the perimeter, they don't get mulched. I'm probably gonna be mulching some trees in the backyard, but that's pretty much about it. I don't try to do too much. Just like my buddy James Prigioni said in his video, this is just about as much as I'm going to be doing for the year. When it comes to labor, you know, just putting some wood chips in here and mulching everything, when that's all you got to do, you know, that's pretty low maintenance, and that's you get a pretty good return for the amount of time that you put into it, and every year you get more and more and more and more. So, thanks for watching, guys. Y'all take care, and stay tuned for the next one. But this stuff is just rich.